Tori, love, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and it's always great to see your beautiful face.
I know, and secretly, this is one of those episodes where I'm like, they're all just going to have to listen to us talk about clothing.
I know. I woke up this morning, and as I was getting ready, putting my makeup, doing my hair, finding my outfit, I'm like, "Ooh, what would Jess like for my outfit?" Because you commented one time on my necklace that was like all the zippers, and I
I
was
don't
like,
want to I don't want to talk about the necklace, okay? Do you know what I just did right before we jumped on? So
"Oh,
that necklace was in February. I think it was February 1st of this
yes,
year. It's like weird that
yes."
I know that, but we were at an event together. That's why I know the date. It's not because I remember
No,
what
she
day
just
you were
really
wearing the
loves me.
necklace.
She knew exactly when we first met.
So you're wearing this necklace that I fall in love with. It is now middle of July while we're recording this. Right before we got on the episode, I actually went back on the website to see if they had it. I've been on the wait list, like the notify me list, since February. I have been this close to pulling the trigger and buying it off of eBay like 100 times, but I'm just like, no, I don't want to buy it off of eBay. I have been on the list for months and it is constantly sold out. And I'm very upset about it. So yeah, you know. But I did check right before we got on. It's still sold out. I'm like,
Oh
get
my
out of
gosh,
here.
that is hysterical. You've been on that dang wait list for that zipper necklace forever. I'm about ready just to send you mine and just say, here, I'll bless you with this necklace because you have been waiting far too long for this necklace. But I've like already worn it maybe like 5 times. I'm almost done with it. You know what I mean? So like
I,
it's like gonna be the gift that keeps on giving. This necklace.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Necklace. Well, it's a statement piece. So like it's
It
very obvious when you wear it. So you can only wear it so much. Yeah.
is, and
I
I
love
can't
it.
overwear it, but it's such a necklace that a stylist would wear because it has the zippers on it, and I'm just
Hmm.
like, this screams my brand, and
It's so
obviously
good.
you got to be a walking billboard for your brand, and that's like one of the best ways is the statement necklace. So
So good. All right. For those who don't know who you are yet, and you got to turn on YouTube because you are just always impeccably dressed, always. And even the pictures behind you, I'm like, everything is just so on brand. I love it. But for those who don't know you, give us a quick little rundown of sort of what you do today and who you help today.
yes, so I own a virtual wardrobe styling company where I style women CEOs and entrepreneurs for events primarily. So events and speaking engagements. We specialize in virtual wardrobe styling where we actually create a head to toe look with shoppable links that align with not only you as a person but also your brand and business. And that's what makes it really fun because a lot of our clients are actually speakers, and so we're aligning not only their brand and their business and their mission with their external appearance, but we're also aligning their message that they're speaking about on stage. So our goal is that when, let's say hypothetically speaking, there's two women walking down the sidewalk, having a great conversation. You walk by them, you want them to stop in the middle of their incredible conversation and say, "Excuse me for 1 second, but I have to tell you, I love your shoes. I love your pants. I love your blazer." And that's what strikes up the conversation. And that's what we're really passionate about with our clients is really creating those conversation pieces, because then when you have a conversation piece that then leads to more conversations, more sales, relationships. You never know where that relationship may take you. Then people can get to know you and your brand and your business, but if you're not grabbing their attention, you're not being seen,
Yeah.
then you're missing out on opportunities. So we love working with entrepreneurs who are on a mission
I
to
love
impact.
I have like grin ear to ear right now because this is why when we first met earlier this year, we connected immediately. I have the same mantra, ethos, like idea. It's when I go to an event, especially, thousands of people or hundreds of people, you better believe I'm wearing something that makes me stand out because it is a conversation starter. And it is the best way to stand out and become memorable, but it's also the best way to start a conversation, which when you do go to an event, a lot of times it can be really uncomfortable. There's a lot of standing around. You don't really know people. Do you really fit in? Everybody's sort of sizing each other up, or you're just tired. Like you're sitting in an event space all day listening to six, seven, eight speakers. And so what you wear also determines how you feel. And for me, I'm like, I always just dress to the part where I am actually standing out because I have found over the years that is the best way to network. It's the easiest thing to do. You don't even have to say anything, especially for you, because you really are a walking billboard, right? You're like, not only are you starting the conversation, but then people are like, oh, what do you do? And you're like, I'm in styling. And it's like, of course you are, like
Yeah,
that just makes it
that
so
right there
easy.
though. That
Yeah.
right there, what you just said about, of course you are. That is literally what we want people to
Yes.
say to every single one of our clients that we work with, because it's like you want to be such a representative of your brand externally that you want people to say, of course you are. And it makes sense. But even if it's like you're a luxury real estate agent, there's a way where you can dress like that, and you can dress very luxury, and you can represent your brand without, everybody's like, well, yeah, it's easy for you to say because you're a stylist. So all you have to do is dress really stylish. But there's ways to represent your brand, even if you're a coach. And it's like, well, what do you stand for? What are some descriptive words of your business and your brand? And then really interchange that and flip it and say, okay, what kind of style represents those words of my brand and my message? And so that's what we want people to be like, of course you are.
Yeah. There's so many directions I want to go, because I also want to talk about the fact that, hello, like Miss Missouri. I mean, there's so much to talk about, but you're bringing this up right now, and I can already tell we have so many community members that come from the health and fitness space. And so there's a pushback. There's a myth sometimes where it's like, well, I'm not going to dress super luxurious and stylish. Like, I'm the leggings girly, I'm the Lulu girly. So what would you say to someone who's in maybe an industry like that, where more athleisure is generally where they're comfortable and appropriate? Is there a way to kind of still stand out wearing athleisure?
Yes, for sure. Okay, so I have a podcast episode on my podcast actually with Angela Gargano. And I know she's a dear friend of yours. And that would be a really good podcast for people to watch, because she is actually, I styled her for a speaking engagement. And she has that very sporty look, right? And she had the same exact question, but we just created a more elevated sporty look for her, because you still want to represent your brand. But let's say you're speaking on stage, you're in the health and fitness industry, but you don't necessarily think or want to wear the athleisure wear on stage. There's a way of wearing maybe a more elevated sneaker that you wouldn't be wearing, in the gym or as you're training. Maybe you wouldn't be wearing a sports bra like you would. There's different ways that you can elevate it, but still have the same feel and still be like, oh yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I always share when I work with health and fitness individuals is their body is a walking billboard for their brand. And so it's really finding the clothes for them that are showing off their muscles, that are showing off their physique, whatever type of health and fitness that they're in. Make sure that their body, their skin, is really reflecting that, because that's more of their brand. And then their clothes just complement, make sure that it's showing the areas of their brand that they really, like Angela, for instance, she's the pull-up queen. And so we always want to style her in clothes that have, that show her muscles, because that's what she's really, and then she has a whole empowerment aspect of it too. But for health and fitness, it's more your body, and then clothes that complement that.
I love it. A good sports bra with a little blazer and like some liquid leggings, make
Here
it work.
For like a fun pair of joggers with some nice sneakers. I love those sporty spice.
Sporty spice. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so this is what you do today. This is who you help today. You're also doing a lot of styling and packaging for different events, which is really cool. So helping people style or know what to wear to go to an event, and then sort of packing lists as well. I've seen you doing that if people are going on retreats or events, and not necessarily as the speaker or the host, but as an attendee, which is really cool. Because I know it could be really stressful. It's like one level to buy the ticket, right? It's like you got to get through one mindset jump to buy the ticket to go to the event, especially if you're going alone and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't, it's just so scary. And then it's another level to like get the hotel room and buy the flight. And then it's a whole nother level to pack. So I love that you're also doing that. And so much of what you do and teach is brand, building a personal brand and branding, which you have done impeccably. So take us back for a second. This is what you do now. Take us back to when you got into this. How and when did you see brand as such an important part of business, and even the fashion piece? Like, where did that come in?
Wow. So there's been multiple different parts of it, but it really truly started back when I was 5 years old. I love sharing this little story real quick. There was a speaker. I mean, there was a musician who was, singing at my grandparents' fairgrounds in Indiana. And she came out on stage, and I was only 5 years old at this time. And my grandparents ran this fairground. So we were sitting front row at this really big country concert, and she was a really big name. And so she walked out on stage, and she said to the audience, she was like, oh my gosh, you guys wouldn't believe this cute little girl that's sitting front row right here in the front. And And I was only 5 years old, and I was sitting there right next to my mom, and she was talking about me, and I knew only at 5 that she was talking about me. My mom had dressed me to the nines for this event. I had the cowboy boot, the white little cowboy boots on that I still have
Oh,
to this day, sitting in my room in
so
Iowa, my
cute.
old, my old room. And she just dressed me to the nines. I had a little painting on my face, from the county fair. And she said, "You wouldn't believe this cute little girl we have front and center." And so when she said that, she said, "Honey, why don't you come up here and join me?" And I was so bashful at the time that I hid behind my mom. And when I hid behind my mom, she came walking down off stage. She ended up singing me a song. And this singer happened to be Faith Hill. And Faith Hill sang me a song as a 5-year-old. And here I was, and I knew in that moment, I didn't know in that exact moment that that would be shaping my life to the part that it is now, because my mom dressed me to the nines and somebody noticed me, somebody saw me, a leader on that stage saw me. And so from then on, it was just like this thing in my life where, it started with my mom, of course, where she dressed me to the nines for every single event, every single occasion, birthday
So
party,
cute.
family gathering, whatever it may be, it was a fashionable occasion. So that really sculpted me. But then as I got older and then I went on to high school, sports were everything. I was a huge basketball fanatic. And every time, game day would come around, I was like, look good, feel good, play good, right?
Mm,
And so I really felt the power of being the walking presence for, your brand. And as like being that player, I wanted to be the best 3-point shooter on the team. And I had to look like her, I had to act like her, I had to practice like her. And so I really combined all of that together. And then going on to college, I started competing in pageants, and then I started a internship program with a really large retailer called Von Mauer, if you've ever heard of them,
no.
through the business school. So I created this fashion internship program through an organization that I created with 3 other women. And through that organization, there were no fashion opportunities at the University of Iowa, like zero, right? Shocking.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm like,
but
get
there were,
out.
yeah, you're kidding me. Iowa fashion. So but there were a group of us women who really wanted to be in
Sure.
fashion. And so we ended up starting this retail organization through the business school at Iowa, and provided opportunities for other women to get involved. And so I ended up, by the time I graduated, I was the president of the organization. And before that, the VP of professionalism. And I just always had this thing inside me that I knew how important it was to be a walking billboard from your brain. I think it was when I was so young, being really molded by my parents' mindset. They were entrepreneurs as well. And so, and then just these different events in life. And then I went on after college and competed again in pageants for Miss Missouri USA. And through that process, it was an 8-year journey of competing before I finally won Miss Missouri USA in
Wow.
2018, and then went on to compete at Miss USA. So really just like all of those experiences combined, I just, every single year I lost Miss Missouri, I was like, all right, every no is one step closer to my yes. What do I have to do to win the crown? And I just invested in a ton of different coaches and mentors of people who had already been Miss USA, because that was my ultimate goal at the time.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I just realized through my mentors and my coaches, like, you have to actually be the part before you are the part. And actually, funny enough, I just did a story on my Instagram right before this about that same topic of, if you want to speak on bigger stages, if you want to, have a larger coaching business, if you want to do X, Y, and Z, you have to start being that part
Hmm.
before you actually get the part.
Yeah. Be do have.
So your image is one of the largest things, not only perception for other people, but for your belief in yourself too.
Yeah. It's such an easy thing that we can control as well. So when we're being, and it's not fake it till you make it, these are two different things, but we talk a lot on the podcast about be, do, have. And so you said it before, if I wanted to be the best 3-point shot, right? Like on the team, then who do I have to be? How do I have to practice? What would that version of me or that girl on the team do? What would she eat? What would she wear? How would she show up at practice, right? How would she react to a quote unquote bad situation or when something doesn't go her way? So when you start to step into that, I also agree with you. I think one of the easiest things that we can do is start to dress that way, because it's like it is. It's putting on a costume. It's getting you into character, right? It's like you see these actors and actresses and people in theater, you put the costume on and it just like you change, you shift. It's like, okay, well,
Yes.
now I am this person. And so I do think that fashion, and it doesn't mean that you have to have luxury handbags or you have to be the most stylish, fashionable, couture person, but it's just like the styling of and putting an outfit on that maybe you wouldn't actually normally wear, it does start to make you feel a different way. And it sort of brings that brand to life. So let's talk for a second on your definition of what is personal branding? Like, what is branding?
Representing yourself in a way that you want to be perceived in the world.
Okay.
Because
And
yeah, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I really believe that personal branding it encompasses your character, right? It's like having your character exuded externally and then walking in that every single day.
So, how much of personal branding is personal style and how are they different?
Okay, say that one more time.
We have like personal branding and then we have personal style. Is it kind of the same thing or do you see them as different things?
Well, I see them as different, but in the same under the same umbrella,
Yeah.
right? Like styling is part of personal branding. So styling is your clothes.
Mhm.
Personal branding is more. I mean, there's a lot of different components when it comes to personal branding, whether it be like social, your actual branding, your messaging. I mean, just literally everything. I could go on and on. But then style specifically is like a category under personal branding or alongside personal branding,
Yeah.
because it has to do with your wardrobe. So you have to have all of these other things in line. And then it's like, okay, let's create a style. And that's why I work with high level entrepreneurs who have already been through that, like personal branding. We don't really work with the one-on-one personal brand people who are just starting their personal brand, because I believe you have to go through this whole process of personal branding to then have the wardrobe and the style that reflects you appropriately.
Yeah. Can you expand? I mean, you ran through it quickly before a little bit, but just what is a process? What does a process look like for someone, no matter the level that they're at, where they want to start with personal branding? Can you give us like tactical things that we can do? What are we looking for? What questions are we answering?
So I think you first have to decide, what are you branding? Like, are you branding yourself first and foremost? Because personal branding will go with that. If you're branding yourself, if we want to go down to like the basics, the very first thing I did was I got my Instagram handle and I got my domain. I mean, in my email. And I made sure that if ever I'm starting to create a new brand, those are still the basic, like foundational things that I always do, that are, I check, is the domain available? If it's not available, then all right, we got to reconstruct some things. Is the Instagram handle available? And then like, it sounds very basic, but that's always the first thing that I do when it comes to personal branding. But then a huge part of personal branding is the mind, right? I mean, just getting through like a lot of the mindset, like really check yourself, check your belief system, check
Mhm.
your patterns, check your common themes, check, the things that are the limiting beliefs that are holding you back, and really check where you want to go.
Yeah.
And is that truly, like, don't put your blinders on for a second. Don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20 who's been doing it for, 10 years, but really put your blinders on and be like, all right, what brings me joy? What's fun to me? What do I want to bring to the world? How can I serve people at the highest capacity? What's my biggest calling in this life? And then really focus on that as your personal brand. Um, and the biggest thing is just keeping your blinders on, I think,
Yeah.
because there's so much noise and there's so much, like, people are doing so many different things, and you never, ever, ever know somebody's full story,
It's
ever.
so true. It's so true. And we blindly follow other people's goals too. Like we see,
Yeah.
so, oh, you have a podcast, I should have a podcast, but we don't check in with ourselves and go, I don't even like talking. Like I don't even want to do that. It's like you wrote a book, I should write a book. And it's like, well, maybe that's actually never really been something I want to do, but we think that that's the thing that we have to do. So I love the idea of blinders on. When you're also figuring out personal brand, how important is it for like the feeling and the emotion? Because I know I've done personal brand exercises before where I've worked with branding experts and they're like, okay, great, write down 10 words of how you want your audience members to feel or 10 words of how they perceive you. How important do you think that sort of emotion piece is?
I think it's huge, because especially for women, because women, we sit in emotion more often than men, right? And we lead with a little bit more emotion.
What are you talking about? No, we
Yeah,
don't.
I know. Some days I wish we didn't, but that's also like one of the beautiful ways that God made us,
Superpower.
right? It's like
Yeah.
we have more emotion and feeling and stuff like that. And I think there's a time to cut off the emotion for a hot minute and just be like, all right, it's game time. We're focused.
Hmm.
Emotion, step aside, you know? And so, but I think it's really important because there's if you're incongruent with the emotion and the feeling of your brand, when times get tough, it's going to fall apart. So making sure that emotion is in check and
Yeah.
making sure the feel of the brand is in check and it's in alignment with you as a person and where you're wanting to go, I think it's really huge, especially for female brands.
So what happens when we evolve? Because we always talk about it. We name the company Digital Business Evolution. We believe we're always evolving and growing. And as we evolve, so does the business. So I'm guessing, because I know in my own life, fashion's been a huge part of it. As I've evolved, my style has also evolved and changed. Is that okay? Because when you're building a personal brand, there's an element of like, I think about like Pepsi. And it's like over the 50, 60, 100 years, however long they've been around, like they haven't really evolved that much. It's the same colors. They might update the logo a little bit here and there, but there's something to be said for the consistency, the repetition, and the staying power. So is it okay to evolve in your style and your personal brand? And if so, how do we do it? Is it like a slow evolution, or are you just like, nope, now I'm totally changing everything?
That's a really good question, actually. And but I do view like Pepsi, let's say, differently than a personal brand in the sense of like you have your own coaching programs and
Hmm.
services. I think it's perfectly fine to evolve, especially your style, because it's personal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a personal brand for a reason. So and it's your page, right? Like if you're, you have a large social media presence, I think it's important to stay consistent with your mission and your core values as a company and as a person. Sure, you could tweak them a little bit as you grow and evolve, which I love the name of your company because we are always evolving. I mean, entrepreneurship is a journey, right? Like you're
Yeah.
always evolving, there's always new inventions and creations, which is the beautiful part about entrepreneurship. But I think as a personal brand, it's more than okay to change and evolve because I mean, a lot of the women that we work with, they're going through transition. It's always a transition season, whether you just had a child and you're coming out of pregnancy and you have this new body now, and you're like, I really want to feel confident and really want to feel empowered. I need a new style, or maybe somebody's coming out of corporate, they're starting their own business, they're in that transition, or
Hmm.
maybe their business has just evolved to different. I think Lindsay Swartz, I think a lot of people, I know you know Lindsay very well. A lot of
Yeah.
people who listen to your podcast probably know Lindsay. Lindsay Swartz is a really good example of this. She, like, I always love when she shows her evolution of Powerhouse Women, of like her
I
different
know.
outfits.
Dark hair and yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it because it just shows like you grow and evolve. And also there's different seasons, there's different styles, and that's what's fun. And your personality evolves and changes, and your interest grows and changes. Your audience evolves and grows and changes. So there's a lot of things that come along with it. And I think it's empowering, and I love giving women that permission to
Hmm.
step into that next version of them and embrace it and empower them with that through their wardrobe, because there's something so powerful when you do that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's so fun. Like it literally is playing dress up as an
It
adult,
is.
like it's getting to really try different things on. Can you put words to it, or again, like do you have a process? So if someone's in this season where they kind of know, right? They're listening right now and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm totally in this space where my business is up leveling and I'm like raising the standard on the clients that I'm working with and I just raised my prices. Like I know that there's a new version of me here." When it comes to the style part, is it like, okay, cool, hit Pinterest, make a board, start to think about what it looks like? Or is it just lean into the intuitive things that you're all of a sudden being called to do? Or is it go hire a stylist because you're going to be screwed if you don't? Like, how do you put words to the process of evolving our style?
There's a whole there's a whole process that we take our clients through, specifically of like our style identity questionnaire, to know where they're at, who
Mhm.
they are, their brand, their business, where they are right now, where they're wanting to be. What This is a really big one too, is what opportunities are you wanting to attract?
Mm.
So as you're evolving, you're also attracting different people into your world, you're attracting different opportunities into your world. So
Mhm.
really focusing on that is is huge, because you have to show up again as that person before. If you have a dream to be on Tony Robbins' stage, well, you better start acting like you're on Tony Robbins' stage through everything, through your habits, through your discipline, through the people you surround yourself with, through your keynote, through your practice, your coaches, your mentor, like everything. Your wardrobe is huge. Like, start showing up. What are you going to wear on Tony Robbins' stage? What do how are you going to show up with your image? How's your hair? How's your makeup? It goes further. Evolving goes further than even wardrobe. And I've been talking about this a lot more recently too, on just my social and podcast and everything, is really like the grooming aspect is really huge. Like, your overall presence is massive. So you could have on like the best suit, the best blazer, the coolest outfit, right? But if you show up and your hair's a little mess, kind of messy, your makeup isn't on point, if you show up for that job, to go speak, you're not representing your brand properly as a whole. It's a whole package that you show up with. And so evolving is really kind of getting everything in order. And that was a huge part of that.
So what's your take on this? Because I've oscillated over the years. I kind of go back and forth. I think there's an element that's really important when you are a coach and a service provider, when you're, entrepreneur out there as a personal brand, the know, like, and trust, the relatability, the come with me rather than the look at me. And so I, for years, have always been very like open and vulnerable on my Instagram stories in particular. And if I had to guess, I probably have more Instagram stories over the last 8 years that stories have been around where I don't have makeup on, my hair's in a messy bun, and I'm just like total cash, doing the work behind the scenes, jump on, deliver an epic like mini training and jump off. But then I also go, interesting. I don't know that I always want to be that relatable. Like, I don't know that I want it to be that, like, you want it to be aspirational, but I look at some of our friends and mentors and peers that we have who do the same thing, where sometimes like they're just on there all messy. And I'm like, that's what makes me love them, because they're not always done up to the perfect with all the abs and all the perfect makeup. What is your take on, like, do you ever show not you personally, but do you suggest people show their cards when they're not always done? Or is it like so important for the brand to kind of be in that element all the time? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Like, Tori, give us permission.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
It really is. It's up to the person how vulnerable you want to be with. If you want to show up without makeup on and you just left the gym and you're all sweaty and gross, or if you want to just show up always like polished.
Yeah.
It's up to the person, truly. But I do believe that I think personally it's important to show up authentically, sprinkle it in once in a while, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that you being polished isn't authentic. I mean, that's something that I think a lot of professionals are, but having that mix of even your personal life where you're showing your family, you're showing your kids, or you're showing, you go into Starbucks or you're going to the gym. I think sprinkling that in within your personal brand is super important, because it doesn't make you look like a robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is more relatable, just like you said, with some of our friends, that it's like they do, show they have a ton of followers, right? They have a big audience, and they do show a lot of their real life too, not just business. And I find myself relating to those people a lot more too, where they're showing more of their personal life. I'm like, oh, they're human.
They're
Wonderful.
human. Yeah.
Okay,
And
great.
it's permission for us to be human too, but it's also then like, it kind of removes a pedestal that we sometimes put people on, which makes it feel more attainable for ourselves, where you're like, well, if she can, I can. Oh, okay. Like, it just feels a little bit more in reach. So I also agree. I think there's a blend. I'm not going to go on stage with a messy bun and no makeup and my oversized sweatshirt. And also I think sometimes on stories, it's like, okay, well, this is the truth of the day. Like, this is where we're at. And it doesn't mean I can't still deliver value.
Yeah. I think, someday when I have kids, and I know you're almost there.
Oh, it's crazy.
I'm so excited for you. But I think someday when I have kids, I'll probably show up a little bit more like I don't know how to say this. Probably I would probably
Less
show up
polished?
less polished.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be in that season of life. But if I'm going to be real, this season of life, I'm done up quite a bit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to events all the time. I'm on Zooms pretty frequently. And there's maybe only like one day a week that I don't have like my makeup or hair done. And then I'm just really not on video because I'm doing so many like behind the scenes stuff
Yeah.
that like I don't even know what to really say on social media because I'm like, this is not entertaining at all.
Yeah.
I'm literally doing not like it always has to be entertaining, but you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like
just like admin stuff. Yeah.
just admin stuff. And so there's most of the time I pretty much am polished right now and not going to the gym. But I think there's some people who are in that season of life where it's like, you know, you're at events a lot, you're speaking a lot, you're on camera a lot. And so it's just naturally like that is really your real life right now.
Yeah.
But I know there is going to be a season of my life where I'm probably going to be sitting on the couch with the newborn, you know, God willing. And I'm like sitting there with a newborn with a cup of coffee, my hair is in a messy bun. And I'm just like, this is real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, or on a podcast and I have a baby in my hand. I don't know what life's going to look like, but I do think there's different seasons of life. And I think it's really cool just to kind of show all those other aspects as well.
Yeah.
And I think there's other ways for people to show their real life by, you know, if you're going on an adventure or something like that, and you show a road trip with your friends or family, and that's kind of a way to also connect. There's so many different ways.
Yeah. It is interesting as we're approaching this new season. I've already been thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder what my fashion's going to change to. I wonder what my style is going to be. I wonder what my body's going to look like and how I'm going to feel and what this is all going to look like because it's a completely different identity. It's not just a physical change. It's like I'm literally stepping into a completely new identity that I've never been before. So I don't know what to expect and I would imagine that version of me is going to have different values and that version of me is going to have different needs and it's exciting. I've already been Pinteresting things though. I'm like putting things together because I care, I care and it's something that I enjoy. Okay,
Yes. Oh my gosh,
let's
I can't wait to see the baby clothes. Can we talk
oh,
about that for a
oh, I
second?
know.
I can't
Well,
wait
we
for
don't
that.
we don't know. We don't know if it's a boy or girl. So I've been like chomping at the bit where I'm like, right now it's just kind of neutrals, onesies, whatever. It's nothing too exciting, but I'm like,
Yeah.
oh boy, I cannot wait to dress this little nugget.
Oh my gosh. Cannot wait.
Let's talk about let's debunk some myths. So I don't know if you have any of these on hand. I'm like throwing this at you. But let's talk about fashion rules because I feel like fashion rules are sometimes things that hold people back from like taking a risk. What are your thoughts on you can't wear white after Labor Day?
This is so funny. I just had this question from one of my clients
Really?
yeah, she lives in Pennsylvania, literally just earlier this week. So I think it depends on where you live in the country.
Ooh,
Overall, I would say I don't like rules. I mean, just rules are not my thing. So anything where it's like fashion rules, like you can do this, you can't do that, I'm like, we throw those out the window typically. But I do think so. I'm originally from Iowa, right? Born and raised in Iowa, Midwest girl. And you feel a little weird wearing white after Labor Day.
really?
You just do. Like when you're in like after so everybody says Labor Day, right? I'm like, okay, we can push it to maybe like October, right?
Sure.
Where it's like we kind of hit the line of October, but then it's fall. So white feels really like bright and summery and but now I live in Arizona and I could wear white year round and I don't feel
Mm.
like it's weird at all.
But
I
what
think
about white in the winter with snow? It's so crisp, clean, and polished.
I do like a good winter white. I love
Yeah.
a good winter white.
Okay.
Um, so I'm thinking of when I say white, I'm thinking of like white jeans for some
Mm,
reason immediately
okay.
comes to mind. Like white shorts, white jeans. I still think like I wear them year round here in Arizona. I think on the coast in Florida, the warmer climates, but I do think in like some of the winter months in those climates, I do like a good winter white.
Yeah. Okay.
It totally depends on where you live.
Are there other rules? Because I agree with you. I'm like, rules? There are
Yeah,
no rules in
like
fashion. Like, that's the
play
point of
by your
fashion.
own rules. Yeah.
Yeah. But are there other things that maybe clients ask you or people are worried about, mixing patterns or textures, or I have this certain body type, so I have to wear this certain type of, cut? Are there other things that you're like, nah, we can throw that out the window? Like, that's old news.
I mean, truthfully about anything.
Yeah.
I don't have any rules that I play by, but I will say like fashion is a silent communicator, right? And so if you like wearing this pattern with this pattern and then pairing a crazy belt with it and you feel confident and you feel like this look reflects you and your brand and your message the best, but biggest thing, you feel confident wearing it, it is this energy exchange that if you feel confident, rock it and own it, do it. But I'm not the one to tell you not to wear it. I'll
Yeah.
tell you if it's absolutely hideous, obviously, but I've never style somebody in something so hideous. But that energy exchange says more, and that confidence that you walk into when you feel the part, when you feel like when you feel like your brand and you're confident in that,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter really what you're wearing, but it's really just finding those pieces that complement you best. I will say one of the myths that I do hear a lot. A lot of people ask me all the time, like, what do you think of the colors? Like, you have like the color analysis, like your certain colors. I don't really care about those. I don't do those with my clients. I actually think it limits people more than
Mm.
anything. And I understand how it could be really fun to see, like, okay, this color does look better than this shade. And I understand it. I understand the concept, and I don't think it's wrong. However, I do think it limits people. And here's why, is because if there's a green color, right? Like let's say green's your color, but then over here there's this orange color that this color wheel, this color analysis told you that orange is not your color, but green could be. To somebody who's not an expert in fashion or styling could say, this shirt is absolutely gorgeous. It's totally my style. It would fit me great. I would love wearing it, but it has that orange color in it right here.
Yeah.
But the greens around your face, if they're not an expert in styling and fashion, they don't understand that like this green is really the
It
one that
counts.
matters the
Yeah.
most,
Yeah.
but they could discount the whole outfit because of this one little spot of orange that this color analysis told them is not their color.
Mm.
So for that reason, I don't like it because I think it could totally limit people
Yeah.
in their fashion choices.
Yeah. Something that I love with the work that you do is how much mindset you bring into it. And you were talking about it before, like the beliefs and the knowing and the identity shifts. What would you say to someone who is on like the precipice and they want to wear this outfit, but they don't feel confident in it yet? Like, how
So
do you navigate putting something on that you're not confident in yet? But it's like the thing that you're confident on is the black Lululemon leggings that we've been all like enough already. So it's like, how do you get someone to that next inner level?
you know what's funny is a lot of times people say that they are comfortable in like those black leggings or all. Literally, this is one of the clients I have right now. She came to me and she said that she loves all of her black clothes. Like she feels most confident in it because she's put on about 5 to 10 pounds and she's not really feeling comfortable in her body. She's a 65-year-old woman, so she's going through that stage of her life where her body's changing a little bit, but she still is. She has a beautiful body and she still has this beautiful like image to portray, and she's actually in the finance space. And so the thing is just trying it, because she came and I'm like, you didn't hire me because you want to stay in your black clothes. That's not why. You already know how to style yourself in black clothes. So my job is really just giving that permission to say, hey, let's just try this out. And it's a gradual process. It's not like I'm going to take her from black to bright orange and pink and green and blue
Like
and all
Betsy
that.
Johnson.
Yes, yeah, Betsy Johnson, Trina Turk, Lily Pulitzer, like we're not going there. But there's this like gradual process of really finding those pieces that are like, hey, let's just try this. And oftentimes it's really just giving them permission to step into something that they've never tried, and then styling it in a way that they feel confident about their body. So for instance, this specific client, we styled her in actually a tan and ivory outfit against the rules. That's like
Yeah.
right, the exact opposite of her all black. And she loved it because the sweater was a little bit longer. So it was, an ivory pair of pants, but then the sweater, it's gorgeous, like cardigan sweater that has gold buttons on it. And it goes down below her waist, covers her butt. So the part that she's a little bit more cautious of, it's covering those parts, and it's not emphasizing those parts. It makes her look a lot taller and more slim because of the cut of. And so really we're just educating them on. And first, before we got on a Zoom to go over her looks, she was like, I'm going to tell you right now, I about discounted this entire outfit. And I was like, I get it. It's like not in the color wheelhouse here, right? But then we talked through it and I was like, listen, this is why we styled it and this is why it'll look really beautiful on you. And she ended up loving it. It was one of her favorite looks on there.
That's so cool.
Because we just styled her in a way that, and I explained it and educated her on how the look will make her look more tall and slender, instead of really focusing on the midsection that she maybe wants to de-emphasize a little bit more.
Right. Yeah. And color isn't the only way that we can hide things. So it doesn't have to be black. Yeah. I
Yes.
love it. Do we have
Yeah.
to spend on fashion? Like, do we have to spend money on fashion, or can we do this in a more laid back, low key, Amazon Prime me something, TJ Maxx Marshalls type of way?
I'm not a big Amazon gal because you never know what you're gonna find. I
Hmm.
like Amazon for other things, but fashion, I don't ever recommend it. I don't ever style on Amazon because you just never know what you're going to find as far as like the material. So I'm
Sure.
a huge believer in quality over quantity any day of the week. Find those staple pieces that you can mix and match. You can use, they're extremely versatile, very multifunctional, but at the same time, there's also some fun pieces. For instance, Zara, that necklace that we were talking about at the beginning of the show, that
I'm
zipper
still
necklace.
upset about it.
So that's from Zara, right? But
Yeah.
like Zara has some really trendy pieces that are probably going to be out by next season or
Yeah.
in 2 seasons from now. And Zara isn't that expensive. And so finding those pieces, if you want to be super on trend, I think it's nice to go to places like that. Now, I also love a good Veronica Beard blazer. Now, those blazers can be up to like $700. Yes, a higher price point for a blazer, but the fun thing is that you can buy a dickie to go under it, and there's zippers in these blazers, so you can change up the entire look. You can
Hmm.
buy a white blazer that you put like a hoodie in, you zip up the dickie and there's a gray hoodie with it. You can put a denim dickie under it so it looks a little bit different. You can wear it just white. Like, it's very multifunctional.
Yeah.
So that piece to me is a piece that I would invest in if you're a person who likes to wear blazers multiple different ways, because you can dress it up or down.
Yeah.
That price point makes sense if you can do that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's not necessary. There's happy mediums, and we style women honestly with every single budget. Some people don't care. They're like, I don't have a budget. I just want nice pieces in my closet so then I can feel comfortable and confident when I open my closet door every day. And then there's other women who we work with who have a ton of events. They're on stage a lot. They're really only going to wear these outfits like 1 or 2 times because they're being photographed so much in them. And then we have other women who want like an entirely, like entire wardrobe refresh, and they're like, hey, give me some great pieces that are maybe a little bit higher price point, but then I want some great, like a great middle of the road price point. And to be honest, every single time we style somebody, if they say, hey, this is our budget is $200 for a blazer, but then we find a blazer that's, and I just use blazer as an example, but we find a blazer that's $700, we will always style that price point for our client. We never want to stretch them in their budget because we honor and respect where they're at financially. So we'll
Yeah.
style that budget. But if we find something we're like, dang, this is so them, and this is like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is like their brand to a T, we'll style it, but we'll always give second options that are in their budget because
Yeah.
we always want to make sure people feel comfortable. And you don't have to break the bank to have a great wardrobe by any means.
Yeah. I love it. And I mean, that's always been my like ethos with fashion. Even when I went to FIT, I went to Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, not Iowa. Um, and my thesis, like to get in, was it was all around that. It was just like having the basics, having the staples, and how like a pair of denim jeans and a black tank top, when styled with different accessories, it could change a whole different outfit. And I did this with my hands because my thesis was actually I drew it out, and then I had acetate, so like clear pages like that they used to put on projectors when you were kids. Dating
Oh,
myself.
yeah. Oh my
So I had
gosh, I forgot
yeah.
about those.
So I had 4 different pieces of acetate that you could like flip on top of the character that I drew, and they were all painted with different accessories. And it was like a boho girl and like a super 70s girl and a rocker girl. And it was an interesting thing, but I believe the same thing. It's like a couple really good staple pieces, but for me, I like trends. I like to set trends. I don't like to follow them. But if I know
Yes.
something is going to be like that necklace, like it's kind of trendy, or even if it's not trendy, but like it's such a bold statement piece, you can't wear it all the time. It's so
Right.
obvious. So for that type of stuff, I'm like, I don't need to spend. I mean, I'm just like, it's coming in and out, which is why I actually don't use any of these websites. Curious your opinion, but I love the idea of Newly and Rent the Runway, but I've actually never used any of them. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, so I actually used Newly for a little while,
Yeah.
and it just didn't work anymore. I just didn't. Number one, I'm not that big a fan of wearing used clothes.
Hmm.
And also it wasn't trendy enough.
Yeah.
They didn't have the caliber of pieces that I wanted to wear anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for every day, or if you want to go like if you have like weekly date nights and you want to wear something new every date night or something,
Sure.
or just you have a specific trip to go to like the winery but you're not really going to wear it again. I think it's great for that. But overall, and for myself and my clients, it's just not as, like I said, I work with a lot of speakers. And so there's not really that event type wardrobe, edgy luxury feel to it, even if it's not like an extreme luxury piece. They just don't really have the pieces that, but I think it's a good thing for everyday. I think it works sometimes for everyday people.
Cool.
Yeah.
We can keep going. I'm like, I mean, we can't because we have other calls, but I'm like, you and I can just talk fashion all day. I'm like, we've barely talked about anything at this point.
Before we get into me on my next call, I'm styling a group of women for Italy. So can you just hop on? You know, actually, I wanted to say something too while it's top of mind, is that you just mentioned something about accessories a couple minutes ago. And that is one of the best ways, I just want to make note, to elevate your outfit. Yes. So you can have a simple outfit, just a basic outfit, and then throwing in a scarf, a hat, a really cool statement belt, statement jewelry, earrings. It literally, accessories are the way to or to really change, intermix an outfit, make it look different, like where you can really make it versatile. So I love accessories. I love finding really fun. My accessory game has it's stepped up this year, baby. And
that's what I went to school for. It was accessory design. That's my thing is accessories, because the other thing too, we go through a lot of changes with our bodies over the years, but accessories, they fit.
They always fit. Unless your head gets
I mean, a belt,
you know?
a belt might be wonky, but like the jewelry fits, the handbag fits, like you don't have to worry about it. And it's just one of those things that my mom has pieces from the 70s that she still has accessories that I've borrowed over the years, where it's like they're heirloom pieces because she can save them and we can continue to use them. And it's just like, oh, accessories are so good.
They are. That and shoes for the most part. I hear after pregnancy, sometimes your feet can change sizes. But I know my sisters did. But for the most part, like shoes are another thing that, you know, shoes, accessories, handbags.
Yeah. Mine haven't really changed yet. And I'm like, I literally pray on this at night. I'm like, please don't change, because I have so many shoes. I love shoes.
Hold on. What size are you? Maybe I should start praying for this.
So if I'm in like a heel, I'm a 7.
Okay, shoot. Size 10. Never mind.
Yeah. Sometimes sneakers, I'm a 6.5.
Selfish moment and be like, well, let's see. Maybe we can change shoes for George, you know?
Oh, that's why you're asking. So funny. Yeah, no, so far, so good. Okay. But like I was saying, so like we could just go and go and go, but I do want to be mindful of your time. So before I do some rapid fire questions, where can people find you? How do they work with you? How do they get your book? How do they get you to do style guides? Like, tell me everything. What do you've got going on?
Yeah, so that is one thing I want to touch on too, is style guides. So I do style guides for event hosts. If you're hosting an event, hosting a retreat, a conference, seminar, I create style guides because one of the biggest questions is people are always like, what do I wear? So I do create style guides for event hosts. And then sometimes even, you know, pop on like this next call I have is I have a style guide for this group of gals going to Italy. And then I review it with all of them. So then they know exactly what to take, what to pack. So that's always super fun. And then I feel like I'm a part of the trip. One of these times I'm going to hop on the plane and go with too. But everybody can find me on Instagram. It's at official Tori Kruse, ToriKruse. And I have a link there in my bio that has just all the details. You can go to my website, torikruse.com, and it has our services. Any way that I can help serve you for, you know, an event, for speaking engagement that you have coming up, or just everyday style, I would love to talk to you and help out any possible way I can. So yeah, Instagram's the best way to contact. We have, you know, book a call there. My podcast, the Tori Kruse Show, is there. A link to my book on Amazon, the whole 9 yards. You guys know the drill.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the show notes as well. You ready for some rapid fires?
Oh gosh, I didn't know we had rapid fire, but let's go.
So usually they're like one direction, but we got to go fashion here. Like I got to ask you some fashion, one quickies. So fashion trend that you hate.
Wide leg jeans.
Oh, okay. Fashion trend that you love. And it could be like from 10, 20 years ago.
Denim and leather mix.
Must have staple item.
Mixed metal jewelry.
That's the damn Zara necklace. Oh my God. Color or
Zara necklace.
I know, right? Color or patterns?
Color.
Heels or flats?
Heels.
Cool. And then just to ask you a couple quickies, if you were to give a TED Talk on nothing you're known for, so no pageants, no fashion, no styling, no personal branding, what would you give it on?
How to be the best country music artist there is.
Yeah, cool. If I were to give you $50,000 tomorrow that you had to invest in or on your business, you could split it up or use it in one lump sum. How would you invest it?
I would create an organization for young women to look professional and have like an image camp for youth.
Ooh, I love that. And then our final question is about digital business evolution because we're always evolving and growing. What is your next personal or business evolution?
Next personal or business evolution. Creating a really incredible mentorship program for other women to thrive and style and fashion.
I love it.
It's a really
Tori, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you
I'm
so
so
much.
grateful.
I just love spending time with you. This is
I
so much
know.
fun. And I can't wait to see you again in person, hopefully soon. I'm sure
I know. After baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, friends. If you love this episode or you're just excited about your own style, your own brand, and your own image, take a screenshot, share the episode on social, tag me at I am Jessica DeRose, tag Tori at official Tori Kruse. That's Kruse. Let us know what you loved about this. Show us your outfit of the day, OOTD, please.
Let's go.
And as always, cheers to your evolution. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.